everyone, and welcome to Chant Day. Hey, we are here on Monday. This is a Monday. Happy Monday, everyone. Happy Monday. Thank you for joining Chant Day. We are here. It is a beautiful day outside. It's a gorgeous, gorgeous day. So I wanted to start off with that the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart is acceptable in the sight of what is righteous, what is good, what is kind, what is loving, what is honorable, what is forgiveness, all of that in the sight of what is good. So I give thanks today on this 23rd of September as we are in the new year. We celebrated the new year on September 11th with shouts of joy and thanksgiving for the new year, September 11th. Now we're going into the Ethiopian Maskal, and the Ethiopian Maskal is on the 27th of September. And the 27th of September is when they found the true cross. It's the finding of the true cross. So we celebrate the Ethiopian Maskal. And in Ethiopia, the legend is that the empress, the Roman empress, Saint Helena of Constantinople in the 4th century, looked at Ethiopia and found the truth, the true cross. It was a discovery of the true cross by the Roman Empress Saint Helena. And when we look at the Maskal, it's a festival. It's a festival. It's an annual Christian national holiday celebrated by the Orthodox churches in Ethiopia. And this festival marks the discovery of the true cross that Jesus was crucified on. So the word meskel is from the Ge'ez language that translates to cross. So the festival is basically a celebration of the cross. People wear the cross on their neck. They look at the cross as, and I always speak of, I'm going to leave you at the foot of the cross so the blood and the fire can drip down and maybe cleanse you into goodness so you can, be that. So this festival is a Christian holiday. People who are Christians in the U.S. don't even know this because we have been so separated from our culture. We think it's African culture. It's nothing to do with us as Black people in America. Yes, it does. This is your culture. This is you. Once you find you, you're going to be good. You're going to not have stress in your life. So the Ethiopian Maskal is coming up. It's Friday, this Friday. And it also happens to be my birthday. So the significance of the 27th of September is quite powerful. It's very powerful because when I turned 27, when I turned 27 on the 27th of September, and let me tell you what the year was. The year I turned 27, no. No, I turned 27. I was living in Brooklyn at the time. Greetings of love and joy with great gratitude for the Most High daily, Elsu. Thanks for joining. Yeah, 1996. So in 1996, I gave birth to my second son. I turned 27 on the September 27th. And this was in 1996. So I came in 1969. I gave birth in 1996. So you see, we have a 6-9 and the 9-6 happening, right? If those of you into numerology out there, tell me what this means. Has anybody had a child born on the day they were born? Okay, that's significant. A mother giving birth to a child on the day that her mother gave birth to her. Very significant. So when I celebrate the Maskal, the Ethiopian Maskal, and the finding of the truth of this cross, it's the truth of who we are as children of righteousness. We are this. We were with that one in creation in the beginning, okay? And we have to remember that. We're so distracted by things of the world. We're so distracted. There's noise. We're distracted. We have so much distractions that we have forgotten who we are, okay? There was a mass shooting that has happened in Alabama, Birmingham. What in the world? Like, really? So I said yesterday, that words are powerful, but when we pick them up and we have intention behind it, it becomes more powerful. Similar to the gun. When a gun is sitting there, it's not bothering anyone, but as soon as you pick it up and aim it and want to hurt someone, then it becomes dangerous. It becomes ugly. It becomes not good. So we have to look at how we play a part in what's going on in the world today. Okay, we play a part in that. So when I looked at the verse today, is coming from Romans chapter 5, verse 3-4. And Romans chapter 5, it speaks not only so, but I also glory in I sufferings. Remember, I mentioned this, long suffering. Long suffering is part of what we are going to experience. And when we do experience long suffering, whether it's depression, we have anxiety, guess what we need to do? What is the solution? Not going outside of ourselves to find a man, a woman, or go have relations with something outside of ourselves. But when we find ourselves in that feeling, and long suffering feeling, because I felt it, I was long suffering walking to campus every single day. And yeah, I may have gotten like upset about it at certain points, but I always reverted forward to thank you for my legs, finding things to be thankful for in the suffering. Walking to work, I would thank you for my legs, thank you for the strength to get up. So instead of looking outside of yourself during that long suffering period, you have to find things to be thankful for. I'm thankful that I can breathe. I'm thankful that I can be able to work. I'm thankful, all of these things, instead of focusing on the long suffering. So in the verse today, Romans 5:3-4, we must also glory in that long suffering. So how do we do that? We give thanks. Hallelujah. I give thanks. Okay, I'm giving thanks. Some people are going through divorce. You still glory in that. You glory in the suffering. You glory in that because we know that suffering produces perseverance, right? Perseverance, character, and character, our future of protection. That's the word today, protection. But the verse today is looking at long suffering, glorifying in that, and knowing that what we are going through, that long suffering of me having to walk to work, right? It produced a perseverance. I persevered and I persevered and I persevered until to the point now I am driving a car I call miracle, because it's a miracle. So that character that we want. We want to become characteristics of what God is, and that is righteousness, mercy, kindness, love, long suffering, okay, forgiveness. We have to forgive. It's important that we forgive those that have sinned against us, because we are forgiven of our own shortcomings. So we have to look at others and forgive those that have fallen short of the glory. And that fallen short may come in the form of somebody not telling you not sharing information that could help you. It could come in the form of, somebody being deceitful. So we have to really tap into this within ourselves. Oftentimes we look at what other people can bring us, and we depend and expect them to make us, happy, when in fact it's not them, but it's ourselves that can change our attitude, and become more friendly, right? So when I was having to walk to work, everybody else is driving and I'm walking, it made me feel a certain way. And it was because of the grace and mercy of righteousness that I was like, oh my goodness, I have to stay in a good place. I have to stay in a good place because I don't feel like I'm in a good place, right? Because I have to walk to work. So I had to change my attitude and change my mindset, and look at it as, this is for a time. It's for a time. All things are going to be for a time. This too shall pass. And it did. It did, to the point where I'm not walking to work now anymore. I am driving. And now I'm on the trajectory of giving thanks for safety, for safe driving, for other people that are driving, that they are safe. So that's where my narrative and my attitude is going now that I have a vehicle. I'm not going to rest on my laurels and be like, oh, I got a car. I don't have to give thanks anymore. I got what I got and I don't have to give that. No, you could win $27 million and you still need to give thanks. You still need to have an attitude of, this can be taken away at any moment. I'm grateful. I'm thankful. I'm going to invest. I'm going to, invest in a business. I'm going to, invest in, homes and rent them out, something. So when we see our own potential and our own abilities, we can do so much as a team together, right? So I love that the Psalm today is 137. And a lot of you may know that Psalm because that Psalm it has been turned into a song. It's been turned into a song by the rivers of Babylon. Okay. And I may chant it in a melodic. I don't have my drum with me here, but I may chant it. I want to end the verse of the day, though. The verse of the day is powerful. Romans 5:3-4. Okay. We also glory in our sufferings. Okay. And if you remember historical slave narratives that of the sufferings of Africans who were stolen, and brought to the U.S., and their narratives of their suffering, and when they had to endure this suffering, even though they endured suffering, they still glorified God in their suffering. And it may have been a foreign God because they're coming from Africa into this religiosity that is part of the enslavement, really. So that suffering was not just physical, but it was a mental, emotional, social suffering. When I look at my framework that I've created, the sufferings are in these domains: physical suffering, intellectual suffering, you weren't allowed to read, emotional suffering, you're seeing others being murdered in front of you and lynched in front of you. And then social suffering, you're ostracized, you're marginalized, out of society. You can't use that bathroom, you can't use that fountain in the public spaces. So we see the impact of suffering that has happened to Black people in the US based on their ancestral heritage in the US, not in Africa. In Africa, we kings and queens, we're running empires, okay? So we look at the suffering in the US of Black people specifically, and my framework that I've created is turning into an app where you can punch in these domains, and what comes up is a litany of things, okay? In each slice of the pies, I call it, there's information on making informed decisions, especially as Black people in America, okay? And it's not made up information, it's information that's already out there that's being pulled into one central location of my app. So it's gonna revolutionize childcare, it's gonna revolutionize how we look at our lives, it's gonna revolutionize how we teach, okay, how we inform and how we take care of ourselves. We have to take care of our physical, our intellectual, our emotional, and our social. We have to take care of these 4 areas of our lives. And within these areas, there's a pile of sub areas within these areas, because physical development, or physical growth, as I call it, has sub areas: nutrition, okay? We also have in that physical area, we have a historical information about how Black people's physical bodies were used in the labor and building of the US. And their physical bodies were not just used to build the US, but it was used to breed more people to be enslaved. So when it comes to, long suffering, Black people in the US knows what that is, okay? They know what that is. And that's why you see the Black church is such a big thing. It's on Sundays, people get up, they dress up, they're in the church. And when they come out, they're still suffering. Nothing has changed when they come out of there, right? So it's not a physical place that you need to go, but you need to seek that physical being inside of you to free yourself from the mental enslavement, okay, that has been left over. It's like a leftover. Like when somebody leaves a relationship for someone else, they become leftovers, right? So this verse today from Romans chapter 5, verse 3-4. And like this video, if you are watching, subscribe to this channel so you can get more. You can see Chant a Psalm every day. You'll get an alert that it's on. So subscribe to this video. Like this video. If you don't like the video, just keep it to yourself. Don't tell anyone that you don't like the video. If you don't have anything good to speak about, just don't speak, right? Only good words. So the verse today kicks off our word today, that is protection. And protection, when we look at the verse today, long suffering, we are protected in our suffering. We are protected because the protecting presence of God is your strength. That's your strength. And what is God? God is love, kindness, mercy, compassion, long suffering, forgiveness, all of that. That's your strength. Don't think that because you're suffering, you're weak. That's a strength. To suffer, for me, walking every day, that was my strength. That gave me strength, believe it or not. So when we look at how the presence of righteousness is such a strength, it is an abundance of goodness and mercy. So the word today, protection, reads like this. Unity, this is published by Unity Publishers, and the publisher, the co-founder, Myrtle Fillmore, wrote, "Whatever troubles may seem to arise, meet them with truth." I told someone this. Tell the person the truth, how you feel. When you string someone along and don't tell them the truth, what ends up happening is the result of that is going to be chaotic. It's going to be confusion because the person hasn't been told the truth. And now you have withheld that, and now you're telling it, or it's coming out in a way that, you didn't want it the truth to come out, but it came out. So whenever troubles arise, you always err on the side of truth. Look at my hot tea, it's probably cold. Yep, it is. You always err on the side of truth. Some people don't want to tell people the truth because they feel the result is going to be bad. They're going to feel bad. They might beat they might fight. It may be, they are looking at the outcome as opposed to the process of the truth. Don't look at what's going to happen after you tell the truth. Tell the truth and shame the devil. And people say that in the Black church all the time. Tell the truth and shame the devil, because the devil is going to be ashamed, because the devil is not about truth. The devil is about staying in a dirty lie and living in there, living in that filth. Okay. That's why only burning, blazing fire can burn out that. That's why we got to keep the fire burning all the time, because we have filthy lies that are in a nastiness, like uncleanliness. In other words, lies are unclean. Truth is clean. It's nice. It's beautiful. Nothing can stand before the truth. Okay. I take these wise words to heart by repeating positive words of protection and safety, setting my thought energy into action. I affirm I am centered in the protecting presence of grace, that is of God, that's righteousness, that's love, that's cleanliness, and repeat that words until I feel safe and in harmonic pattern. So repeat these words. I am centered in the protecting presence of goodness. I am centered in the protecting presence of mercy. I am centered in the protecting presence of righteousness. I am centered in the protecting presence of forgiveness. You keep repeating those until you feel safe and there's a harmonic pattern that you have created from those affirmations, from affirming that. So keeping the presence and power of God, that is goodness and mercy, at the forefront of your thinking. Remember, your thoughts need to be about goodness and mercy. That's going to help you relax. That's going to give you that relaxation. That's why you have to change your attitude so you can change your altitude. When you change your attitude and you change that narrative in your mind, you're going to elevate. Remember, seek for what's above. We want to elevate. We are already on the planet Earth, y'all. Gravity is holding us physically, our beings here. Okay. When we have no more life, gravity, we fall, we are, gravity is our companion, our constant one. So gravity now will be part of that relation deeply when we leave the earth. We're pulled down. We have nothing, no life inside to keep us upright. We're down. Because I saw my dad when he was on the ground. There was no life. Okay. I tried to wake him up. I said, Daddy, wake up. He was gone. Gravity kept him and pulled him down there, and that's where he stayed. He didn't move. So of course, I take steps to stay safe and be mindful of my surroundings. I also practice the presence of righteousness. I know the source of I enduring protection is not found in the world. Remember, I said that. Your enduring protection is not found in the world. You out there are divine beings. We are divine beings living in a human experience. Isn't that a powerful thing? Like, for real. We describe Jesus in that way. Like, he was a divine being and he lived a human experience so he can experience what we will be experiencing. He felt that first, right? According to the Christian faith. So, with that being said, we have to take steps to be mindful of our surroundings. We need to practice the presence of righteousness. Practice that. I was on the phone with someone this rise. They call me, shout out to my Bayesian family. And I was listening to them as they were going to work. And they were greeting people. Good morning, greeting people. And that's the presence of righteousness. When you come into a space and you are greeting folks in kindness and love, in humility, you're not thinking about yourself, you're too tired to speak, it's Monday, you don't want to say anything. You put that aside and you ride on in that righteousness by greeting folks with a pleasant greeting. And that's what I heard when I was speaking to this person. They were doing that. So I look at that as practicing the presence of righteousness and standing firm in that. Standing firm. When you stand for something, you're not going to fall for anything. So you're standing firm for righteousness, for goodness. That's the source of your enduring protection. And that is not found in the world. It's not. You are a divine being, a child of God, a child of mercy, a child of compassion, a child of righteousness, a child of grace, a child of long suffering. You are a child of long suffering, especially if you're a Black person. Your ancestors have suffered long, right? You are a child of long suffering. So when you faced with that, when you faced with challenges in life, or you got bills piling up and you don't know what to do, when you're faced with these challenges, you have to know that you are a child of this one that is goodness, that's going to pull you up out of the myrrh and going to pull you up out of the toxicity of that myrrh with toxic people. Because remember, we're talking about being mindful of your surroundings, being mindful of who you're friends with, being mindful of who your friends are. You are known by the company you keep. You are known by the company you keep. That's why you see some people are alone. They don't have many friends. They don't have many acquaintances because you are known by the company you keep. If you're with someone that's toxic, they're always in an argument, they're always putting you down, they're always negative, that means that there's something about you that is that way. Something about you that is that way. So, what do you need to do? You need to remove yourself from that surrounding, being mindful of that, practicing the presence of righteousness, meaning opening your mouth and using words that are kind. We're not yelling and calling people names. We're not going to use the F word because we have a vocabulary that is rich and full. So we don't have to use that word in anger or when we are making love to someone. We don't have to use those words. F me. Come on, F me. I want you to F me. No, what? No, let's use words that build our vocabulary. Let's make love. Let's share our bodies with each other in a loving, kind way. And you hold me and we cuddle. Use words that are going to express those deep feelings. Okay. You will know somebody by the words that they speak as well as the company that they keep. Okay. The words that they speak and the company that they keep. You're going to know a person by those things. So you're a divine being, and that's where your protection comes from. Your protection comes from that space. I was, what was it? Friday, I went out, and the person I went out with had amazing words to share, and looking at how I expressed to this person, I said, I just love goodness. I love God, right? And I want to stay in that place, in that space with the Most High. Like, it's sweet. It is loving, it's kind, it's unconditional. It doesn't have limitations. It's like the Most High righteousness is going to love you no matter what, right? And even when you fall short of the glory, that righteousness is still there to pick you up and take you up, right? And say, you know what? Let me dust you off. Let me pick you up and let me take you to your next chapter in your life. And that chapter is going to be filled with beauty. So the word today, protection, is brought to you by Psalm 16, verse 1. Protect me, O God, for in you I take refuge. What does that mean? Let's go deeper with that. Protect me, O grace. Protect me, O righteousness. Protect me, O long suffering. Protect me, goodness and mercy and kindness and forgiveness and humility and truth. Protect me, O truth. For in truth I take safety. In righteousness I take safety. In long suffering I take safety. In forgiveness I take safety. I take safety in all that is the Most High. Okay, so the word today, protection, is brought to you today by Psalm 16, verse 1. I love that. And the verse today is coming from Romans, as I mentioned. And the psalm today that we haven't even breezed onto yet is Psalm 137. And it's, how shall I chant a righteous song? How should I chant a righteous song? So it begins, and I ask that the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart is acceptable in the sight of what is righteousness, what is kindness, love, and mercy. So verse 1, by the rivers of Babylon, where we sat up, for there we wept when we remembered Zion. On the willows there we hung our drums, For there our captors required from I song, and our tormentors mirth speaking, chant I, one of the songs of Zion. How shall we chant the Lord's song in a foreign land? When I forget righteousness, let I and I right hand forget its skill. Let I and I tongue stick to the roof of I and I mouth like this. When I do not remember righteousness, when I do not set kindness above I and I highest joy. Remember, oh, righteousness against the Edomites, the day of harmonic pattern. How one spoke, lay it bare, down to the foundations. O daughter of Babylon. Now this one is important. This is for all the daughters of Babylon. And what are daughters of Babylon? There's a fly in here. Oh, I don't like flies, y'all. I'm going to get that one. I hope I got him. Oh, shucks. Okay. So the question is, how shall I and I chant a righteous song in a foreign land, right? Remember, oh, righteousness against the Edomites, the day of Jerusalem, how one spoke, lay it bare, down to the foundations. So, O daughter of Babylon, and let's define what a daughter of Babylon is. A daughter of Babylon is a female harlot, right? It's a female harlot. And the female harlot is defined as nasty, don't clean their house. The bathroom is filthy. They use it and then they go. They don't clean up after it. The daughter of Babylon is also defined as as a person, a female who is not aware of words. My thing is coming up. Not aware of language, and they're not aware of positivity. They're very negative, always negative. They're very manipulative and controlling. A daughter of Babylon controls and manipulates for their own selfish gain and interests. So a daughter of Babylon is doomed to be destroyed. Doomed to be destroyed. Okay, blessed shall ones be who repays the daughter of Babylon with what the daughter of Babylon have done to I and I. And we see that the daughter of Babylon has infiltrated the music industry, infiltrated education, infiltrated healthcare, infiltrated all these areas. So the daughter of Babylon has infiltrated the world to believe that beauty is on the outside. Okay, the daughter of Babylon is all about what's on the outside, exposing what they are on the outside, and they're doomed to be destroyed. So, and verse 9 is very, very crucial. Blessed shall I and I be who takes the daughters of Babylon's little ones and dashes them against the rock. Exclamation mark, end of psalm. That is, I'm not even going to talk about that. I'm not even going to talk about that because that is such a repayment. Okay. And blessed is the one who is going to repay this daughter of Babylon with what they have done to I and I. So righteousness is going to handle it. Don't take it upon yourself to go do anything to anyone, because the daughters of Babylon is doomed to be destroyed. Okay, righteousness shall be the one that's going to repay the daughters of Babylon, okay, with what they have done. And righteousness is going to handle the little ones of the daughter of Babylon. They're going to dash them against the rock. They're going to set them straight. They're going to set them right. Okay, in order to set something right, it has to be destroyed to be rebirthed. Okay, so the daughter of Babylon is doomed to be destroyed. Doomed. Okay, and when we talk about the daughter of Babylon, we also that daughter of Babylon is defined as a harlot that goes out and takes people's husbands, their wives. It could be a daughter or a son of Babylon. They go out there and they lure people out of their relationships into uncleanly relations. Okay. And when I'm talking about uncleanly, I'm talking about sex, and going from the daughters of Babylon. They may have 5 children for 5 different people. Not speaking that that's defines them as a daughter of Babylon, but when you see that they are fornicating, and just using individuals for their flesh, for their body, for whatever they can give them, this becomes defined as a daughter of Babylon. So how you define that, let me know, because Psalm 137, by the rivers of Babylon, there we sat. We have to define what Babylon is. We sat and we wept when we remembered, Zion. And Zion is defined as when, that place of ultimate love and kindness. There's no, hate or discriminate in that place of Zion. So they remembered Zion and they wept at the remembrance of that place, because they hung their harps up there, their instruments, and their captors, the slave masters, required them to sing. They required them to dance. They required, during the enslavement of Africans, they required them to, dance. They wanted them, if you look at 12 Years a Slave, the slave master has them in the wee hours of the morning dancing. So the tormentors are wanting them to chant a song of, Zion, chant us one of these songs. And then the answer is, how are we going to even chant a song of Zion when we're in this captivity? We're in this captivity. There you held us captive. Bob Marley talks about it in Redemption Song, going into the bottomless pit of the slave ship. So Psalm 137 rings true to the long suffering that we talk about in Romans 5:3-4, and it's relevant to us today as Black people in the U.S. So I wanted to, Selah and Selah again. Let's look at our Max Lucado, and then we're on September 23rd today, and September 23rd is Zechariah, Vision of Horses and Horns. And then September 23rd for Max Lucado, we have the promise of eternal life. Oh, I love this. The promise of eternal life. We all share in Christ when we keep till the end the sure faith we had in the beginning. This is from Hebrews chapter 3, verse 14. Oh my goodness. We all share this love, this kindness in righteousness. And when we keep that till the end, the sure faith that we had in the beginning, we're going to be okay. Hebrews 3:14. And I wanted to look at Hebrews 3:14. Where's Hebrews? Hebrews, page 1369. Hebrews is our book today. Um, 1369. So we have Hebrews chapter 3. Jesus greater than Moses. Okay. Hebrews chapter 3 verse 14. We see to it, brothers and sisters, that none of you has a sinful, unbelieving heart that turns away from the living righteousness. However, encourage one another daily as long as it is called today, so that none of you may be hardened by sin's deceitfulness. We have come to share in Christ when indeed we hold our original affirmation firmly to the very end, as has just been said. Today, when you hear the voice, do not harden your hearts as you did in the rebellion. Who were they who heard and rebelled? Were they not all those Moses led out of Egypt? And with whom was he angry for 40 years? Was it not with those who sinned, whose bodies perished in the wilderness? And to whom did God swear that they would never enter his rest, when not to those who disobeyed? So we see that they were not able to enter because of their unbelief. You have to know, you have to, and that unbelief is not about believing in something outside of yourself. You have to believe in yourself. You have to believe and know that God lives inside of you. So you're going to be aware of the things that you surround yourself with. Okay? So Max Lucado says, Father, teach us to set our hopes on heaven, to hold firmly to the promise of eternal life, so that we can withstand the struggles and storms of this world. May your holy word be a soothing medicine to the wounded heart. Okay? So those of you who have a wounded heart, guess what? The medicine is in the sacredness of the word. Okay? And that sacredness of the word comes from that righteousness that is God, that is mercy, that's compassion, that's long suffering. So when you are moving throughout the day, this is what is in your thoughts, and it manifests itself in your words. So when you see someone walking and they're carrying a lot of things, you may go over and say, do you need me to help? Do you need a hand? You give them a hand. That is knowing yourself. And I don't even want to use the word believe. Okay. I want to knowing. I want to be aware of my own divinity and my own divine being, that I am a goodness. I'm a mercy. I'm a child of God. I'm a child of that righteousness that created me from the beginning, that set me on this earth for a purpose. However, distractions of childhood, distractions of adulthood, distractions of life try to separate me from my love and that love of the Most High. Try, but you can't. You can't separate what is to be. Just like a relationship. If it's meant to be, it's going to be. If it's not, it's not. But you cannot separate the love. You can separate the individuals, but that love is still going to be there. Okay? It's important to know that. So in Hebrews chapter 3, verse 14, um, so we don't want to harden our hearts. We don't want to do that. We want to be aware of this kindness. Be aware of that. So, Max Lucado, The Promise of Eternal Life for September 23rd. We all share that goodness and that grace and that righteousness. And in that sharing, we have a future. We have a future. So that was the Max Lucado today. We looked at September 23rd. Buoyant and zealous, Zechariah had the life of an artist and the eyes of a seer. So Zechariah was an artist. Interesting. I didn't know that. So Zechariah, we're looking at the book of Zechariah today for the 23rd of September. Zechariah, his purpose was to give hope to God's people by revealing God's future deliverance through the Messiah. The rebuilding the temple, restoration, the coming Messiah. So this is us. This is for I and I to do. We have to rebuild ourselves. We have to rebuild our temples, and we have to restore ourselves for this coming of righteousness to cover the earth as the water cover the sea. We have to do it now. It's important. So on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being hopeless, 10 being excellent, how would you rate your marriage? How would you rate your managerial skills in the following areas? Getting your family to help around the house. A scale of 1 to 10, 1 being hopeless, 10 being excellent. Getting my son to help around the house, I would say, is below 10. He has a hard time getting his room clean and all that stuff. Supervising your subordinates at work. That's excellent. My subordinates are my students. I don't look at them as my subordinates. Motivating committee members to do their jobs. That may be hard. Encouraging members of your Sunday school class. So not all of these situations may apply to you, but there is none that does. Challenging others to follow the Lord. Zechariah's task, in a nutshell, was to encourage his countrymen to give up in their walk with God, to encourage his countrymen not to give up in their walk with God. You can do the same. Look for a small but significant and honest compliment you can pay to each person you encounter today. So be honest and give people compliments. Watch how attitudes change as others see you seeking to build them up, rather than trying to tear them down. After all, we are put on this earth not to see through one another, but to see one another through. And encouragement helps. So I love that. We are not to tear each other down, but we are to build each other up, and not we are to encourage one another, not to see through one another. We don't want to see through one another, but we want to see one another through their challenges and through their trials. Okay, and if you can help someone, you should do so. Zechariah chapter 1, verse 3 to 4. Return to me, declares the Lord Almighty, and I will return to you. So when you return to the Most High, when you stop running after things of the world and you start running after God, God is going to be there for you and going to stay and keep you in grace. Do not be like your ancestors, to whom the earlier prophets proclaimed, but they would not listen. This is what's happening to people today. That's why relationships end, because people are not following God, and maybe the other person is. That's how my children's dad, he did not want to follow the righteousness of God. So I said, we can't be yoked together because you're not, following that. Now he's in a suffering situation where he's suffering, and it's sad because this is what's happened to our ancestors. They didn't listen. And when you return to that is goodness and mercy and righteousness, that's going to return to you in tenfold. So I'm thankful that I'm able to see this in my life now and be able to walk in the grace and the presence of what is goodness and mercy and what is righteousness, because a lot of people have unfulfilled relationships, unfulfilled and failed relationships, and don't realize that it's because of their free will to separate themselves from God, okay, from Jah, Selassie the First, Rastafari. We give thanks for the Most High daily, every single day. Thank you so much for joining Chant Day. As we outro, I want everybody to have a beautiful, blessed day. Stand in love. Don't fall in love. Stand in it. Stand in it. Stand in love. Don't fall in it. Stand in it. When you stand in love, you're upright. You can see the forest from the trees. When you stand for something, you won't fall for anything or anyone. So that's what happens when people fall in love. Instead of standing in love, they fall, and then they end up breaking up because they cannot see the forest from the trees being down there, falling. So remember that. Have a blessed day, everyone. Mwah. Take care.